Hey, everybody, welcome back to another fantastic edition of the His and Her Money Show, where we make it our business to help you take dominion over your money and your life. Listen, if you are tuned in to us, we want you to know that we're grateful. You could be listening to a whole lot of shows, watching a whole lot of YouTube channels, but you're here with us. And for that, we just want to say thank you and let you know that we're grateful for that. I promise you today's episode is going to be one that you are going to love and enjoy. And because that's going to happen, you need to be a good friend or a good family member and make sure that you share this episode with your people. Put it on your social media, text it to them. When you put it on social media, though, you got to tag us, at His and Her Money. Let us know that you're rocking with us so we can show you love right back. Now, it's been a little while since we've done one of these, but y'all keep asking, we want more debt-free stories. I'm like, okay, all right, fine. Well, we got a good one lined up for you on today. We got an awesome young couple by the name of Carrington and Ashley. They're here to talk about how they done paid off 6 figures worth of debt. They're going to let you know the ups and downs, the twists and turns of their story so that you can create a story of your own. So get your pen and paper ready, open up your notes app, and let's get ready to get motivated to debt freedom on today. So let me get Carrington and Ashley on so they can share their story with you. Hey, Carrington. Hey, Ashley. Welcome to the His and Her Money Show. How y'all doing today, man? We're so fired up that you guys are here. We've been trying to do this for a little while now, man. How are you all doing?
Man, we're awesome, my man. Thank you so much for having us. Definitely excited to just invest in your community and just have the opportunity to just bless whoever's exposed to this, my man.
Yeah,
Let's go.
especially since I've been tuning into the show for so long, so it's an honor to be able to share our story.
Sweet. Now, some people are being introduced to you guys for the very first time right now. So can you say hello to them and then let them know a little bit about what you two are all about?
Yes, absolutely. So my name is Ashley Brown. Many people know me as Ashley Empowers. I am the founder of the High Earning Housewife, and my husband and I, we share here on YouTube when it comes to dating and relationships. But our mission is really just to help people have a strong marriage, which will in turn produce a strong family.
And I'm Carrington Brown, her husband. I know y'all may know me as Carrington Brown, right? I'm a life coach, relationship expert, man, and just live life just serving and investing in people, equipping them to create healthy and thriving relationships with the source, themselves, and then somebody else.
Sweet. So let's let everybody know. Well, we know for sure that you guys are here to share a debt-free story. But before we get to the finish line, let's go back to the starting line. Talk to us about what the journey to debt freedom looked like at the beginning. What type of debt were you guys up against?
Yes. Okay. So this is a great question. So, well, first off, Carrington and I, we've been married for, it'll be 8
8
years
years.
in August. And when we first got married, we were both in our early 20s, and the conversation of debt or finances, it wasn't even, those weren't,
We didn't even have
we didn't even really
talk
have the
about
conversation.
that.
Like we weren't reckless with our money. We didn't have a lot of money. We were just, I was in graduate school. He was finishing up his undergrad degree. And it wasn't until I started exposing myself to um, things on financial stewardship and wealth building where my mind began to be renewed and changed. And I was sending him podcasts and suggesting him books to read. And he was like, this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And so it just to actually take it way back, when Carrington and I, before we started having kids, we also have 2 children. He started working for a multi-level marketing company for the first time. And in this company, it was a great company. He didn't make no money in it, but it was a great company. But what the benefit of his participation and our participation in it is they really preached self-development,
Yeah.
investing in your mind, investing in the things that you're reading. And that was like our first time being exposed to, oh, so wealthy people, they're reading, they're managing their money, they're living below their means.
Yeah.
And we started to, gosh, you want to,
We started being more intentional with self-education. I
yeah,
believe that even though we didn't have the conversation, there was a piece of both of us that desired to not owe anybody money, to be in financially independent, to be in a great financial space, because both of our backgrounds is financial struggle.
Yeah.
Right? When you look at our families, a lot of it is financial struggle. So as a result of being exposed to that and growing up in that environment, we had that desire to not experience that or live like that. But what we lacked was the education or the information on how to actually do it. And so once Ashley started exposing herself to content about finances, managing your money, saving, investing, all those things, and exposing me to do it, it's like, yo, like, this is the avenue to actually accomplish what we actually say we want to accomplish.
Yes. Yes.
That's super dope. Now, you guys had this paradigm shift because y'all didn't have, anybody teaching you this in advance. And so this is something that you all, for lack of a better term, stumbled into. You all went on a journey of knowledge. And then as you all started to learn self-development, self-education, you realize, we're not doing this money thing right. So y'all had to start pulling out the calculator and saying, okay, where are we at? How was that journey? How was that? Because it's one thing, because people have been listening to the His and Her Money Show for years. We've been doing this for 7 years. They didn't listen to a whole bunch of episodes. Acquisition of knowledge is one thing. Application is a whole nother thing. So how did you move from acquisition of knowledge to the application of it? And once you put the numbers in that calculator and saw what you all were at, well, let everybody know what you put in that calculator. Did it still motivate you? Was it a little deflating? Was it a little discouraging? Talk about all the emotions that came along with that part of the journey.
Definitely. So let me just start by saying this. So the Bible says that the truth shall set you free, right? And I believe that that's a very simple verse with so many dynamics to it. And so one of the primary things I think about when I think about just our process and our journey is the value of freedom, the value of actually sitting down and not assuming and not guessing what's really there, but actually saying, let's actually calculate what we really owe,
right,
and what we really put out.
Yeah. So, but I want to make this very practical for people listening, so I can paint the picture of where we were. So he was in the company, and I was pregnant with our first daughter.
Yeah.
And at the time, he was working his company, which at the beginning stages of working like a multi-level marketing company, you're not making any money. So we were living off of my salary, which was not generous at all. And it was a battle of having a desire to get out of debt and to be able to give more and to be able to do more, but we did not know how. So what we started to do was dip our toe into entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is what really changed the game for us, because when you are an entrepreneur, there's no longer a cap to your earning potential. So we spent years building our business, and then probably around, when did we get out of debt? Was it 2021?
Yeah,
2021.
Yeah.
So about 2019, that's when we were like, okay, we could breathe financially, because we were living paycheck to paycheck. We were just trying to cover the basics. Debt freedom wasn't even on our mind. But when we started to see some progress financially within our business, then we were like, okay, we're getting an abundance. Let's steward this wisely. And instead of going on vacations, instead of buying a new car, let's focus on paying off debt. And so when we did our spreadsheet, we did, there's different methods of how you can outline your debt. People do the avalanche method, the snowball method. We did the snowball method, which is lining your smallest debt all the way to the highest debt. And we had about $126,000 worth of debt. Those included student loans, medical bills,
credit cards,
car loans, and I think that's it.
That was about it.
Yeah, that was about it. And again, it was very intimidating to see that number, but we believed that it was possible.
Yeah.
Now, when we looked at our finances then, getting the plan together, our finance was getting a little better, but still feasibly, we were like, and we don't really know how this is about to happen. So the first step was educating ourselves. The second step was increasing our earning potential, because again, we weren't just reckless with money, we just wasn't making enough. And then from there, we just got really focused on paying stuff off. Now, I do want to say, while we were on our debt-free journey, we did not stop investing in ourselves, and we
Yeah.
did not stop investing in things like we bought 2 houses while we were on our, well, actually, no, we bought 1 house while we were on our journey. And which turns out to be a blessing. You know, some people
100%.
say, wait till you get out of debt until you buy property. It has absolutely been a blessing for us, but we were also really led by the Holy Spirit to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was a mix of emotions, but we didn't start off at a place where like we can do this. It was very much a faith move.
Yeah.
Dope. I like this. I have so many directions I want to go. So I'm going to come to the thought that you all had of a key for our journey is going to be increasing our income. So for someone who's on a journey to freedom, they are usually starting with tightening up the budget, making sure that you know the income, making sure that you know the outgo. And now you all took it a step further, looking at everything, saying that, you know, this is cool, but it's going to take us a whole lot longer to do it just this way, just cutting back. We need to think about increasing our income. Now, that means you're going to have to take some calculated risk along the way, is what I feel that you all had to do. So talk about, once you had the idea and the thought, we need to increase our income, how did you all evaluate opportunities to do so? And then what type of steps or procedures did you do in pursuit of these additional streams of income that didn't hinder the pursuit of debt freedom? Because that's a tightrope that you got to walk. So talk to us about that.
So that's good. So with starting out and realizing that, hey, in order for us to actually accomplish this goal, yes, we can penny pinch and make what we make it and save as much as we can. But when we looked at, hey, if we really dip our toe in this entrepreneurship thing and really go hard at it and educate ourselves on how to do it properly, it can set us up to where not only will we become debt free, but we'll do it faster as a result of making more money, because that's something that we have control over. And so at this time, Ashley had already started her YouTube channel and was doing interviews and everything, but she had begun once again educating and researching on how to take the platform that she has and actually monetize that thing.
Mhm.
And so as she learned that, educated herself about that, she began to make a little money here and there. And so she began to educate herself about creating programs.
Yeah.
And she said, okay, cool, let me create a program.
Yeah, and honestly, so when I first started YouTube, I did not know that people were making a living on YouTube. And this was back in end of 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I saw a YouTuber say, oh yeah, this is my full-time income. And I said, wait, run that back. Hold on. And so then I was like, it just completely opened the door to this research. But also, why we said we needed to try something different is because I remember at one point, Carrington was like doing Uber.
Yeah. I was doing Uber Eats, delivering food, delivering pizza, and working a full-time job at the same.
And he ended up getting a full-time job. But it was like, it was still just making small progress.
Yeah.
And then when you're, and I just thank God for the internet, because you learn what people are doing that are working. So we were implementing some of the things that we were learning.
Yeah.
So what steps we took is, okay, let's identify our gifts in a way that we can serve the marketplace. So not only are we impacting people, but we're also making a living and building a business. So it's not just about the money. It was literally looking at our gifts, looking at our expertise, looking at what people constantly are asking us for advice on, and saying, how can we turn this into a business? And so our lane has been digital products, digital courses, speaking engagements. We've written books. I also do a lot of brand and influencer sponsorships, but I just feel like it feels very scary and uncertain to kind of dip your toe and try something new. But for everybody that's watching, if you are feeling a pull to start a business or a pull just to create another stream of income, try it. Like, it is amazing what the Lord can do with your faith and with his guidance.
That's super dope. So as you all you said the first step to creating these additional streams of income was an evaluation. What am I called, gifted at, so I can, make money, but also serve? And then you said that you did things like educate yourself and you tried this and tried that. Were you all budgeting or did you all give yourself? So, for example, with His and Her Money, we said that we started with, I want to say $500. And we said, listen, this thing's going to live from there. It's going to live or die after this $500. It ain't getting nothing else. So, like when you all were in bed, figured out what your gifts were, and you like, man, this would be a good training for us to go to, or let's buy this piece of equipment to make my YouTube videos look better. Like, how are you all reconciling the monetary deposits into these dreams while you all are pursuing doing a whole bunch of other things?
This is a great question, Talent, but I really want to take people, like when I say we had no resources to start off with, so not only were we living paycheck to paycheck with $126,000 worth of debt, we also had no money to invest.
Yeah.
So let me paint the picture. So Carrington ended up getting a full-time job.
Yeah.
2016, I said, hey, babe, I really feel like I'm supposed to quit my job. So at the time, my daughter was 6 months old. And one, you know, being a new mom, I was like, I really want to be there for her milestones. I really want to have a feminine presence in my home. So my husband was like, do it, you know, like go ahead and quit. Not that we would have been in this perfect position, but my brand started to make a little bit of money. Yeah. And so he said, if you quit, you'll have your time to be with our child and to grow your business.
But let me jump in here real quick because I got to add this in here, right? Because everybody can't do that, right? Because there's two factors that go into that. One, you got to have that gift of faith, right? You got to really be directed and spirit led in this thing and trust that God is leading me. But then along with that, you have to be a different type of person. So the reason why I was so confident saying, hey, babe, leave that job, you good, is because I know my wife, right? My wife is different, like she built different. And so because I understand that my wife is wired to get stuff done, she's super focused, she's super organized. If she put her mind to something, it's going to happen. Yeah, go and leave that job. Because if you're spirit led, if you're spirit led and you leaving that job, then God, the Holy Spirit, the gifts that He's given you in partnership with you and your get it done attitude and personality and persona, oh, we good. Like, yeah, you gonna do the thing.
Yeah, and what I was gonna say, Talent, is that we didn't have the resources, but we used what we have. So at the time, we started a YouTube channel. Me and Carrington started a series on my channel, and his mom was working at the airport. And she said, hey, a woman or somebody left a digital camera at the airport. If they don't claim it within a certain amount of time, you guys can have it. At the time, when I first started YouTube, I was using my iPad because that's all that I had. Mm-hmm. So then she said, well, I know what you guys are trying to do. After a few weeks, a month or so, she gives us this camera. We were living in an apartment, okay? We didn't have iMovie. We didn't have any editing programs. We used to go to our amenity center where they had the little Mac, what are they called? iMac computers. Yeah. And we would sit down there for hours and wait for our videos to upload. Once the channel started making money, once we started earning money off of that, then we invested that money into actually, no, wait a minute. Carrington's mom works for this family who gave her their iMac computer. So she said, hey, y'all can keep this iMac at your house so you can edit.
Shouts out to my mom.
Shouts out to
my mom.
So we were using what we had, and then the business and the brand started earning money, and we would invest it back. Now, let me say this, Talent. I remember when I quit my job and we were like, okay, I wasn't really making any money, but Carrington was able to cover like the bare minimum of bills, but we needed some more. Yeah. And I said, okay, it reminds me of the story in the Bible where God takes how many fish? 5 fish? How many loaves?
2 fish, 5 loaves.
5 loaves. And He multiplies it. So I literally asked myself, what is my fish so I can make something happen? I didn't have any education when it came to digital marketing, but what I did was I went through someone's funnel, right? Like how they set up their online business. And I didn't have any training, but I looked at what they did and I implemented it. And that month we made like $18,000, which for us, that was like, I mean, we were like, we this is where we need to stay. But so essentially we didn't have all the resources, but we used what we had. And when we started earning money, we started pouring back financially into the business.
Man, I'm trying not to be stirred up. You know, I try not to mix pastor talent with his and her money talent, but y'all stirring me up, man, because the Bible says in the book of James that faith without works is dead. There's one thing to say, yeah, you know what? Quit your job. We got this. I know you. That's faith. But man, y'all went to work. You said y'all kept using what was available. I don't want nobody to see. Carrington and Ashley ain't gonna let y'all leave this episode with nan excuses about whether or not you can get things started. Because some people heard, oh, she's a YouTuber. That's why they got out of debt. But you had to break that thing down. There was a beginning.
Let me just throw something in here real quick, Tyler, because now you get me stirred up. So I was listening to Dr. Miles Monroe a couple of days ago, and he said one of the biggest issues with people is that they don't really understand that they already have everything in them to do and accomplish everything they're supposed to. They just need to get it out. He said the seed didn't come from the tree came from the seed, the forest came from the seed. So all of the potential is already in the seed. It just needs to be in the right environment, the right soil, getting the right minerals and vitamins to be able to be cultivated to actually build this forest. The seed is already in you.
Yeah.
If you listen to this and you watching this, the seed is already in you. You just have a responsibility of getting clarity from God about what that seed is, thanking him for it, cultivating that thing, and then sharing it with the world, and he gonna bless you from it. Like, he gonna bless it.
And I want to say one more thing, because this story keeps coming on my heart. Like, for those of you listening and watching, do not be afraid to be different. Like, when it comes to your friends and when it comes to your family, because I remember Carrington and I, we were visiting someone in the hospital, and there was a lot of family members around. And I remember the conversation where everyone was anticipating getting their tax refund check. Yeah. And we were in that same season of like, man, we can't wait to get this refund. And I remember thinking, I don't want to ever relate to people in this way. And I don't ever want to be looking forward to something like this ever again. And so and I talked to Carrington about that, and he was like, no, I completely feel you. Like, sometimes you have to be the change maker in your family and your legacy and your friend group and be an inspiration to them. So don't be afraid to be different.
Yeah.
Man, I love that. So you guys started with nothing, started with what you had. And because you matched faith with your works, here comes a free camera. Here comes a free iMac. And you all continue to build. I'm in somebody's phone. I'm not even going to buy the product, but I'm going to just pay attention to what the heck they're doing. And I'm going to make my own version. Boom, it comes $18,000. So as this thing begins to grow feet.
Legal & General America is the leader in low-cost term life insurance.
For nearly 70 years, Legal & General America has been providing financial protection to over 1.3 million families and businesses.
LGA makes understanding and applying for life insurance easy.
You can get a free quote by simply going to hisandhermoney.com/LGA.
And the seeds, as we just talked about, that you all deposited and are starting to grow. How are you all, because the way I understand it is you all would like bank some money and then like make large chunks of payments. Like, it wasn't like every month we sending something. So kind of break down your philosophy on the payback as the money started to come in.
Yeah, so that's great. So probably about 2019, the end of 2019 is when we got serious about the debt-free journey. And what we would do is we would always move, how we do our things in our house is zero-based budgeting. We pay our tithes, we pay ourselves, and we pay our taxes.
All right, stop. Nope. Nope. Got to unpack that. No. We're not going to slide. So you said that zero-based budget, that means every dollar has an assignment. And then you return your tithe back to God. And you said pay yourself first. What does that look like?
So it looks like taking a percentage of what we earned and putting it in account. And so something that was helpful for us is we created at a different bank.
Yeah.
We had different accounts. We Are Debt Free was the title of one. Our children was the title of. So this is how we started to move money, and we did not pay large chunks, or excuse me, we did pay large chunks because, mind you, we started in 2019, then 2020 happened. So we said, let's keep saving the money in case we might need it.
Yeah.
And so when we were like, wow, well, God is still blessing our business. He is still providing. So if we would say, okay, there's $11,000 in that account.
Yeah.
Let's pay off this debt. And then we would keep moving money every week, because I do the budget on a weekly basis. Every money. Then I'm like, well, I'd be like, Carrington, there's $20,000 in there. He'd be like, let's pay off my student loan. And so I think it was 2020 when we got out of debt. Was
August 2021. I saw the
it?
video.
We paid
Yes.
off, that was,
So August 2020. So we were very conservative with how we were making payments because of the uncertainty of the world.
And shouts out to Corona, right? Because as a result of Corona and then not having to make payments on the student loans and everything, that set us up to save those large chunks of money to be able to knock out our student loans.
Nice.
Yes.
So y'all took advantage of the national forbearance that's still going on today. I hope y'all out there listening and watching are doing the same, because look what happened. They accelerated their process because they took advantage of it. Government don't give out handouts too often. This is one that you should definitely take advantage of. I love y'all stories so far, man, because y'all are doing it y'all way. We always say here that personal finance is personal before it's financial. That's why it's personal finance. So you all set out to increase income, and your first foray into that was through entrepreneurship. But I also understand that y'all also, during this journey, correct me if I'm wrong, were dabbling in real estate investing, from a traditional investment type of property, but also I believe that you all said that y'all were like renting rooms. So talk to us about all these rent checks coming in.
You're talking about
we currently have one rental property, right? And the mission is, honestly, just throwing this out, the mission is to have that thing paid off by October this year. And the reason why, just quick side note, we don't like owe nobody nothing. All right. So housing, payment, all that, we ain't trying to owe nobody nothing. And so how for our first rental property happened was, it was our initial house. And so as we begin to have kids and raise kids, it's like, well, are we in an environment with a school system and people that are eclectic and progressive and growing and developing, that we would want to have investing in our kids, right? Because all of that plays a role. And so when we had the conversation about it, we both agreed that, hey, we might want to look at transitioning ourselves to a different environment in order to make sure that if our kids were to go to public school, they're homeschooled now, but if our kids were to go to public school, we be in a great school district. Yeah. And so we began, we connected with our realtor and started looking for houses. And it's interesting because where we live now is about an hour 15 from where we initially lived.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, you can't just pop up on us. Like, if you pop up on us, you bring a sleeping bag.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah. So our first property, and this is the thing, when we were advised to sell that house to get that equity check, because it would have been a great check. Yeah. But I said, I think we should rent it out. And thank God we did, because now the housing market in Dallas, if we wanted to even invest in something, it's just not the time to do that. So we just took our residence, rented that out, and then we bought a new home. So we own 2 properties, and the home, for almost the 8 years that we've been married, we've always had someone living with us, be it 100%. A parent, be it someone who just needs to get on their feet. And so that's where that rental room income came from.
Super dope. Super dope. I love it. I love it. Let's just get money from all types of directions. So talk about the communication during this whole journey, because I believe it took y'all a little shy of 3 years. Were you motivated the whole time? Were you on fire the whole time? How did you all, if so, how did you keep it up? How are your conversations back and forth? How are you all keeping each other accountable? Talk about that, because it's a lot of couples listening right now.
So we definitely wasn't motivated the whole time, especially me, because here's my thing, Taylor. I like eating. Yeah. You feel me? I don't spend a lot of money on clothes and stuff, but I like food. And so to hear that I got a food budget and we don't even need to be eating out, and we need to buy groceries. And you know what? Let's just take these cards we got and put them over here so we can't even use them. Like, I'm distraught by that. But the beautiful thing is we were consistent with reminding ourselves of the vision. And that's the thing that kept us going. I always remind my clients, like, you have to have clarity about the vision because the vision influences decisions.
Yeah.
And so whenever we had those moments of, man, let's just go do this, let's just go spend this money, like, it's okay if we push everything back 3 to 6 months, then it's a matter of, well, wait a minute. If we continue to be disciplined a year from now, a year and a half from now, all of this will be paid off, and then we can do that for longer. We can experience this at a higher level. We can travel more. You can eat whatever you want to eat, whatever you want to eat. So
Yeah.
we were very intentional about discussing the vision so that even when those low moments or those moments of not even wanting to do it came up, hey, when I look at this vision, I'm willing to say no to myself now so that I can say yes to myself in abundance then.
Yeah. And it wasn't like we didn't have a life or we rode our bikes to work
Yeah.
or we didn't do anything.
Well,
like,
you did ride your bike to work.
I did ride my bike sometimes, but essentially we just enjoyed the process.
Yeah.
Like, we still went out to eat occasionally. Instead of going on trips to Jamaica, we went to trips to grandma's house. Like, we still had things that we enjoy. And even now that we are debt free, like, our date nights, the past 2 date nights, we've gone on hikes.
We went
Like,
on
we've gone
walks,
on
yeah.
walks. So it's just finding ways to entertain and enjoy yourself without feeling like you have to consume.
That's good.
So take us to that moment. A lot of people are curious. They're either thinking about going on a debt-free journey or they're in the middle of it. They're wondering what it's like to send in that final payment and have that feeling knowing that you're debt-free. So set the scene, paint the picture, talk to us about the day that you made your very last debt payment.
So I feel like we had just got off the phone with our accountant.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about tax stuff. And we found out, what our tax payment would be. And then we looked.
We had budgeted more for taxes than we needed.
Yeah. And so we looking and we like, well, wait a minute. You got one more student loan. What does that look like? And we looking at the student loan and we looking at the available money. We like, we can really be debt free. Should we do it?
Should we? Yeah.
Like, should we actually do this? Because prior to this, I think maybe a week, 2 weeks before this, we had a conversation with a financial advisor. He was like, man, if I was you, I would take that money and invest it in this, invest it in that. Opportunity costs. He was talking about opportunity costs, and you could take that money and invest it in this, and then a year and a half from now, you'll have more to pay that off and all of that. And so we heard him, and we had that conversation. Immediately after that conversation, we went on a walk, and we like, what are your thoughts about what he said? Well, what are your thoughts about what he said? And we're just conversing. And so we were sitting down looking at what we had available financially and what we owe from a debt perspective. And then we went back to that vision piece of, hey, what is our vision? We hear what everybody else saying, but what is the best decision for us based on our goal and our vision? And it was to pay that off.
Yeah.
So baby made that call.
Yeah. And it felt incredibly, it was
like surreal.
It was surreal, and it really did feel amazing. And to Carrington's point, when we finally made that decision, I had to remind us, like, this is not the end of our money. Like, it feels like, oh, this is it, and we're all done. No, like, God is going to continue to provide. We're continuing to work our businesses. But it felt amazing.
Now, this wasn't no little check. You wouldn't send no 500. It's like $40,000.
What was the last thing?
40.
It was yours.
No, yours was last.
Oh, mine
so we paid
was
both
last.
of mine. I think it was like 43.
It was like 43.
It was like 43,000.
It was $43,000.
That ain't. I mean, that's a heck of a conversation.
Yes.
Look, because there's a lot you can do with 43,000.
It sure is. I'm calling my dad. He's Nigerian, and he's like, I don't know. Everybody's like, I don't know about that, but we pulled the trigger, and it feels amazing.
And that's why it's so valuable, especially in marriage, to have your vision.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when I'm an advocate of being trailblazers, right? Carving out new paths. So one of the challenges of being trailblazers is that you're rarely exposed and connected with people that are on the journey that you're on, right? So we even have some successful friends that ain't even pursuing debt freedom like we are. So it's like we can't even a lot of times have conversations with them just because the desire and the mission is different.
Yeah.
But the reason why it's so valuable to be in alignment with that vision is so that even if we do open the door of conversation to other people, We can hear their perspective, but we can always come together and say, okay, what is our desire and our vision? But yeah, vision is valuable, man.
Man, listen, I'll be trying to just let y'all talk, but listen, I need everybody to listen because the philosophy is that freedom is a hindrance to wealth building. Y'all got to stop thinking that. Every dollar of debt that you pay off automatically and instantaneously increases your net worth. You can't say that about a business endeavor because of the risk involved. You can't say that about a stock market investment because of the risk involved. You can't say that about a real estate investment because of the risk involved. So the popular noise out there is that debt freedom is going to prevent you from building wealth at a good pace. It is a false narrative. Becoming completely debt free accelerated us to pass the 7-figure net worth mark a few years back. It's not because of anything else. It's because of the discipline that we built to avoid debt, to get rid of the debt that we had. And it positively affected everything else. We did invest, of course. Of course we invested. But it started, the foundation was the discipline and the mentality paradigm shift necessary to have a foundation of debt freedom. Don't let nobody fool you. Debt freedom is the right choice. So I'm curious for you, Carrington and Ashley. Y'all had to have a lot of conversations and had to come back together and say, what's our vision? And ultimately, you made the decision that was in alignment with your specific vision. What has changed in your life post that last payment? What has debt freedom allowed you all to do that maybe you wouldn't have been able to do otherwise?
Just randomly book a trip to Jamaica for next weekend, for this upcoming weekend.
Yeah.
It allowed us to book a 2-week trip to Nigeria in about a month and a half. It allowed us to give more. It allowed us to
invest
more.
You know, our kids now have stock. They invest in the stock market, and they're 3 and 5.
For me, the biggest thing is it got us not even a step, like a leap closer to the real financial independence and freedom that we both desire to experience. Like the mission and the goal is within the next 2 to 3 years to be at a place financially where we can wake up without an alarm clock and just make whatever decision we want to do for the day. And so that is primarily a direct result of choosing to pursue debt freedom. Like, we're not living life and working ourselves to the bone just to pay bills.
Yeah.
Like majority of the world are. Like, we're working and intentionally bringing in income to continue to pay off debt. Like I said, we pursuing knocking out these houses for the next 2 to 3 years. But setting our kids up for what I had a conversation with my daughter like 6 months ago. And it was very short. I said, hey, princess, do you know what debt is? And she was like, no, daddy, what is debt? I said, don't even worry about it. You'll never know. Right. And so I'm confident saying that because I know that her father and her mother are making decisions right now to where if she goes to college, let's say she's not on a full scholarship, you ain't got to worry about that. Your mom and your daddy can pay for that. Right? Like we're opening the door for friends, family members to have opportunities as a result of our discipline. And I believe that's a big part of the legacy that God desires us to leave as people.
Super dope. Now, there may be somebody on the fence or they're motivated by what you all shared, but they also, for them, when they look at their numbers or, their current job situation, or maybe even a lack of motivation from the person that they're married to, and they're wondering if they have what it takes to do what you all have done. If you had a chance to talk to them one-on-one, what would you tell them?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And it's very important that you're fueling your mind and you're consuming things that's in line with where you want to go. Anytime that, at one point during our debt-free journey, when we bought the house that we currently live in, I kind of was like beating myself up because I'm like, man, all the gurus tell you that's not what you're supposed to do. But I said, it's okay. Let me start continuing to listen to podcasts and hearing people's stories because it kept me focused. So I feel like where you veer is where you steer. So I would just say, continue to listen to podcasts like these, continue to watch videos on YouTube, read books, because those are depositing the fuel you need to keep that fire burning.
What I would inform them is that they have a responsibility and a mantle to be a trailblazer for their family, which means that they have a responsibility to carve out new paths. But I would also affirm that there's supposed to be a rich moment for people, and rich is an acronym that stands for realizing it can happen. And so in life, for all of us, if you've experienced any level of success, it's because you've had a rich moment. You've connected to an experience or a person with an experience or a story where it was like, as a result of hearing your story, I believe it can happen for me. As a result of being exposed or seeing your success, I believe it can happen for me. And what if I'm having a conversation with somebody, I need them to understand, hey, you're that rich moment for somebody. Like the way that you're desiring it and needing it and wanting it, there is somebody else that is going to be praying for that same thing for themselves that you're supposed to be. So understand that, when we talk about vision, provision is providing for the vision. So when you say yes and I do to the path and the responsibility and the mantle and the mandate that God has put on your life, He's going to make provision. He's going to provide you with everything that you need for the vision, which is why once we said yes and Ashley stepped out and we started moving by faith, that's why the camera randomly came. That's why the iMac randomly came. Yeah. That's why opportunities to speak, everything just started to come out of nowhere because we said yes. And we were, as a result of being obedient, it opened up the door for us to experience and receive the provision, the providing for the vision that God already had ordained and put in place for our life. So you ain't no different.
Good stuff. Y'all said a couple times over the interview about the power of reading. Are there some books you would throw out there for people to check out?
Yeah.
Richest Man in Babylon. Love that. Think and Grow Rich. Fan of that.
Well, that one kind of has some weird stuff in it. So you just take the meat and spit out the bones.
Exactly.
But
the Bible.
Yeah.
Got to read the Bible.
Some of my favorite books on personal finance, specifically, The Millionaire Next Door. I also loved The Millionaire Real Estate Investor. It's not just about real estate, but there's a lot of financial pieces to that as well. The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. And then I'm like,
don't you
else?
Like Business Success Secrets from the Bible?
Yeah. Business Secrets from the Bible. It's by Rabbi Lapin. That's really great if you're interested in entrepreneurship as well.
And one more I want to add is The Psychology of Winning. Love it.
Yeah.
And it's all about winning.
Okay.
Psychology of Winning. It's all about the mindset and perspectives and beliefs that you have to have and that all successful people have.
Yeah.
So we'll be sure to have links to all of those books in the show notes of this episode. Now, y'all got a lot going on. Y'all are all over the internet helping people. So lay it out. Let everybody know where they can find y'all and keep up with all that you all have going on.
Definitely. So on social media, I'm at the Carrington Brown.
And I'm at Ashley Empowers on everything.
Sweet. We'll have that linked up as well. Can't say thank you enough, man. I know people are super motivated by your story and the wisdom and advice that you imparted into everybody that's tuned in today. So thank y'all so much for making time to come and share with us on today.
Thank you so much for having us, King.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another fantastic edition of the His and Her Money Show is in the books. Listen, you ain't got no excuses, man. They started with an iPad and kept it moving from there, turned it over to the Lord and trusted that He would provide. And guess what? He provided. They're debt-free. They're building wealth. They're booking random trips to other countries. And you can do the same. Their story could definitely be your story as well. So we hope that you are not just motivated, but that you are motivated to action. That's all we got for this time, guys. It's been great. Until next time, peace.